Everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Rob. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season wherever you're at. Today's video is going to be more on the casual side. I'm going to record myself building a job that a client sent me in Cabinet Vision, so that way you guys can kind of see my day-to-day inside of the program. This video's it's definitely going to be geared towards beginners or those of you who are trying to polish up on your skills. So I'm going to take things slow and I'm going to kind of explain everything I do along the way. So hopefully this is informative. If we take a look at what I'm going to be drawing here, the customer or client of mine sent me this drawing, and they were nice enough to include dimensioned out cabinets. You don't always get it this nice, but I appreciate it when I do because it takes a lot of the thinking out of it. I don't have any real world drawing measurements to go off of, so we're only going to be going off of this drawing that they sent. And they did tell me some things that they want changed or modified that I'm going to also be doing. So if we take a look at what we got a kitchen here with an island, a master bath, a run of vanities. We've got a little hall, a bath here, some cabinets in the laundry room. And if we go up to the second floor, we've got a small bathroom up here. So pretty simply laid out house. So it shouldn't be too complicated at all to draw up. So if we come over here to Cabinet Vision, I'm inside of 2023, and let's go ahead and make a new job. All right, so we're gonna type this, call this Mason Valley River Stone. All right, so I'm gonna go to room. We'll just say the kitchen's the first room we're gonna start at. Layout, I know that it's gonna be 9-foot ceilings. And so under the cabinet tab, I'm not going to go into any of my scheduling because I just want to keep this video simple. So I'm just going to choose my presets, which on this particular job, we're using a side mount full extension guide. So you just want to make sure that all your schedulings match up with each other, how you have them set up. The doors on this, we're going to do machine grade MDF. So I just want to make sure I have that set up, which looks good. And that looks good, so we're going to hit OK. All right, so like I said earlier, I do not have any real world measurements, so I'm just going to go off of what uh, the dimensions in this picture. So I don't really care too much about the exact length of some of these walls as long as I can get all these cabinets in them. So if we look here, we've got 30, 60, 90, and then I'm pretty sure this is another 30, so 120. So as long as I'm bigger than 120 here, I should be good. So we're going to come back into Cabinet Vision, and so we're in our kitchen room. So I'm going to draw a wall. We'll just go like this, and I'm going to put 160 for now. And these walls, I have them at 30. Let's take a look. The cabinets are 24 deep. It's showing that it's deeper than the cabinets, so 30 should be fine. So it looks like we've got a base 30, a base 30, a range, and then another base 30. So we'll start putting in. If we go here, I can center my room up. All right, so under objects, I have under the catalog's custom cabinets. I'm not going to use I have pre-built out libraries that I've made. I started out on here and I just saved them as I uh, just over the years as I've been using the program. But I'm going to stick with what a normal person would see when they just boot up Cabinet Vision. So we'll come down here to the base cabinets and we're going to drop in this base, which I don't know why. Maybe it's this version, but some say STD for standard. So you're going to use that standard. So if we click here, the first thing I do is I don't want that to be on true. I want to name the cabinet myself. All right, so I want this guy 30 inches wide, which we're already there. I want him 35 tall. I'm going to right click and I'm going to get rid of this F. I don't want that there. And uh, I have to make a few changes based on this particular client. So this particular client likes this. If I go here, they want their top drawer slab, and they don't use hardware like uh, this. So they use finger pulls. So we've got to put a groove in the bottom of this drawer front, and we do that manually. However, if I don't make this middle rail a little thicker, you can't get your hand in there. So I'm going to double click this guy. I'm going to right click. And I'm going to put my slab shaker here, my route path, all that's fine for this. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to click this middle rail, which is set at 1.5 inches. And I'm going to make this 2 inches. And then I'm going to go back to the interior and I'm going to delete this floor because I don't need it. Just so you can see it, there's a floor that's here and there's no point for me. This is my preference. Some people leave them in, but I'm just going to delete that. And that is essentially what they want. But they also want the style here to extend all the way to the floor and that be solid. So I'm going to double click again and I'm going to click this rail or this style and then we're going to go 3.5 inches because that's the height of my toe kick. And then so that brings that to the floor. But if I go to 3D, we can see that even though that's coming all the way to the floor, it's still giving me this toe kick. And I'm sending this out to a CNC, and so the CNC is going to do whatever the body parts call for, so I want to get rid of that toe kick. So to do that, we're going to go to the section over here on properties. If we go to toe, we need to make this left side a full end and not a notched end, and then that will make that side solid, but it will leave the toe kick over here. So the next thing here is I'm just going to rename this we're just going to call this a B30, base 30. And then in the comments, I like to put some comments that have nothing to do with probably you guys, but they won't make sense to you, but they make sense to our guys here at the shop. So I use the comment fields really regularly, and don't forget to save your job because cabinet vision can crash from time to time. Okay, so we've got that first one in, so we need another one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this guy. And we need to basically reverse this to the other side. So the easiest way to do this is just to go to modifications and we're going to reverse the assembly. Now, if you reverse the assembly, it will reverse everything except for anything in the comments. So if you have things in the comments that are specific to one cabinet, just make sure you go in and change that if you use that cabinet to copy for another one. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now let's go to objects. Let's go to appliances. Let's do not a dishwasher. We want a range. And we'll just pick one. Doesn't matter. So we've got our two cabinets. We got our two bases here. So base 30, our 30-inch range, and then we need another base 30. So I'm going to take one of these guys. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste. And I'm going to add this extended toe kick on both sides. And you can see here, I had to do it on both sides, so that means that this guy here, I forgot to. Well, I didn't forget. So whenever you reverse an assembly, it will reset those toe kick values because it doesn't know like if you want to keep that. So just keep that in mind. If you do some reversals, you got to go in and just double check that all your settings are still good. So perfect. So that looks really good. And then on this cabinet here, we can on our finished end, we can go ahead and reassign that F if we know that that's going to be finished. So we've got that. The base is done on this back section. So now let's take a look at the upper cabinets. So if we go back to our objects in our custom cabinets, we're going to go into the walls and we're going to put this standard upper. All right, so same drill. I'm going to get rid of that. So this guy, we've got 30 inches was what we want, but so the elevation from the floor that I feel like it's pretty standard. It's what we do is 54 inches from the floor. So this is where I want to start the cabinet, but we want to go all the way to the ceiling with this one, and then they want glass doors. So what I do, going all the way to the ceiling, we've got 25 inches left between the top of the cabinet and the ceiling. I don't want to go the full 25. I actually want to go 24, and I'm going to leave the top of this cabinet an inch from the ceiling, and I'll explain why here in a second. So if I take 30 plus 24, my math skills are not the greatest. I apologize for that. So we're going to go 54 from the floor. 54 inches tall, and we're going to go 54 from the floor. So that brings us 1 inch from the ceiling, and then as well as 54 inches from the floor. So I'm actually going to double click and I'm going to delete everything out of here. When it comes to crowning a cabinet, if you want to put crown there, you've got to make sure that there's enough space uh, to put the crown for one, so you don't hit the door, but also you need that 1 inch as kind of like a clearance, so that way you can get it up there and get it aligned. And so the way that I go to the ceiling is that I always make my top rails 3 inches thick, and then I always keep it 1 inch from the ceiling. And it works out very well for me doing that. All right, so let's start building this cabinet out. So whenever I do a cabinet that's got glass uppers, right now I split it in half and it just equalizes it, but let's go on this upper half. Let's do 12 inches. And 12 inches is a lot of times what I do, and then if it gets to like a 10 foot ceiling or bigger, then I'll make this like 18. But the client specifically said they want 12-inch top glass sections, so we changed that to 12. And let's go ahead and make this a pair of doors. It's single instead of a single door, make this a pair of doors as well. And then let's come into the section interior. And right now there is no floor that separates the two sections. So we want to add that. The way you do that is this horizontal split. You click again and drag, let go, click again. I don't know who came up with that. Doesn't seem the most intuitive way of doing it, but that's how you do it. So you click and drag, let go, and then click again over that joint. So, and then down here, let's add some shelves. Oh, how many shelves? 3 shelves. So we need 4 openings for 3 shelves. And that gives us 3 shelves. Okay, so now the last thing we need to do is we need to make this 2 inches in my case, in which when I did that, threw this off, so let's this back to 12. And that is because that finger pole clearance for this specific job. So to make these cut for glass on the top, we're going to right click and we're going to go to properties. Yeah, we're going to go to change, and I believe there's some glass presets maybe in Cabinet Vision by default. It's been so long since I've had a clean build, but we're going to use this square in my recent settings. I'm going to use this square glass, um, but I believe Cabinet Vision should have some pre-built. So if we just hit OK, we don't want any. This is going to be just standard shaker all the way around. And there we have it. And so if we take a look in 3D, we can see that we're achieving what we want. So now I'm going to get rid of that finished end, and then I'm going to rename this to a W for wall, and we're going to go 3054. And I'm going to put it in the comments. I do TR for my top rail 3 inches, and this is just for my shop, guys. So this will mean nothing to you. But like I said, this is so you can see what I do exactly on a day to day. Okay, so this guy, we're going to right click and we're going to copy him. We're going to actually copy him twice. Let's copy him over here as well. So if we take this guy, the reason it's dropping it down is because I had my clearance set to 12, but that's okay. We'll go 54. We'll bring this guy to 54, and then my clearance to the left, I want 30 inches. So we're going to put 30, and it's going to move this guy over. So now we have the exact same opening above. All right, so I know that they're gonna have a microwave, I believe, over the range here. So we need to build a microwave cabinet. All right, so on the microwave cabinets, let's change this to false. 69 from the floor is correct. And I believe that a lot of microwaves I think they're 15 inches is what they call for. It's like 15 or 16. I can't remember, but generally, if you have a cabinet over the range, 59 inches, I mean, 69 inches is going to be like what you're going to be wanting to go for. So now that that's at 69, we got to bring this all the way to the ceiling as well. And so I need to add 11 inches to that. So what is that? 38. So 39, 11 inches. And then if I bring that back to 69 off the floor, that brings it up to that level. So now I just need to modify this top rail to 3 inches. And then I think for this, I'm going to just leave 2 shelves in here. I don't know. Sometimes they vent these things out the top. I don't know yet. So I'm just going to leave it like this for now. But I'm not going to make this top section uh, for glass, I don't think. I think I'm just going to leave it, and then they can tell me. Sometimes, like if let's just try it and see. It doesn't always look good on certain cabinets. So let's see if we do a pair of doors here. I'm going to lock the height because I need to make this 2 inches and I don't want to. There we go. And if I change this back to square glass, it can kind of look small. So I don't know. You guys could tell me what you think is best, but I think personally on this one, I'm not going to do glass doors. And if they tell me otherwise, then I'll change it. But I think for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to call this a wall 30, 39. So the way that I name it's the first number is the width, second number is the height. And then anything beyond that, I just add in the comments. All right, so the only thing here is we're going to make this finish. In fact, actually, this one will just stay on both sides because you're going to see it. And this one, the right. All right, everything looks pretty good. So let's take a look at that island. So the trick here is so if we add everything up, we have 36-inch sink, we have a 21-inch cabinet here, and then we have a dishwasher. Then it just says dishwasher. So what I do here is let me go grab a calculator here. Okay, so with the calculator, I'm going to add up 21. I know that this is going to be a standard sink-based cabinet is 36 inches, so 36. And then how do we determine this dishwasher size? So what I do is that I add 24 for the dishwasher because dishwasher's standard size is 24-inch width. It's usually what you're going to find. But you can't just leave that open. You've got to have a leg to case it in. And so we're going to add another 2 inches for that leg. And so that gives us an 83-inch island. So we'll start with there. So if we go to our walls, we're going to change our line to peninsula. And I can't remember. We'll go right to left first. Yes, so right to left. Okay, so there's our 83-inch island. So let's just let's start working on it here. So if we are looking at it, so we know we're going to have a 21-inch cabinet there on the right side. Let's do. Okay, so we're going to do. Oh, we got number 21 inches wide. We're going to do 35 tall because that's what we do here. Okay, and actually, what I'm going to do here, this is just because the owners asked me to. We're going to make this a drawer cabinet. So if I delete everything here, we're going to click there, and we're going to go to the horizontal multi-split, and I'm going to do 4 equal openings. They're going to be drawers. All right. So for me, first thing I have to do is I got to make these all 2 inches. And if any of you guys out there ever do finger pulls, remember this because it's important that you have the finger clearance. Top drawers 5.5. I usually do the top 2 drawers equal at 5.5, and then whatever the remainder is, it's just 5 3/4. When I have this kind of a setup. And then this builder specifically wants the top drawer to be slab. And we're going to also make this go all the way to the ground. Just like that. And this is what we end up with. And so that looks exactly like what we want. So from here, I'm going to get rid of those finished ends, and I'm going to rename this as a base 4 drawer 21. And then I'm going to add some comments. So basically, we're going to panelize this right side. But The way that we're gonna do it, um, I don't build it out in cabinet vision, so I just put it in the notes. They actually build something on the side. So for me, this is where I want it to be. So apologize for the talking in the background. It's busy in the office this morning. All right, so now we need a sink base. So let's drag another one of those cabinets in here. And so we need to make this 36 inches because that's standard. We want to move it to the left, stretch it to the left. So let's make this 35 tall. Get rid of that F here. All right, so we've got same drill. We're going to change this to a slab. We're going to make this 2 inches. And on this one, because it's a sink, we don't want it to be a drawer. We want it to be a false front. So put false front here. And then I'm going to delete that floor out of there so that way we just end up with a up in the shelf. We don't want that shelf either. So let's get that shelf out of there. All right, there we go. So now you have a sink cabinet, but I thought that I made that a slab. I don't know why it's just like that. Let's put none on the route path. See what that does. There we go. All right, so we're getting close. I just got to add this leg back down to the ground on this side. Basically, what we call that is just extending the stile to the floor. All right, so I'm going to name this sink base 36. All right, so now we have gotten to the dishwasher point. So we're left over with 26 inches, which is exactly what I wanted. So if I come in and I build under that base cabinet a DEP, which stands for desk end panel, I believe, we're going to make that 2 inches, 35 tall, and then I'm going to double click here and under my properties here, if we go to case properties, actually toe, we're still in toe. We're going to zero out this toe height. So that brings it flush to the ground, which is exactly what we want. All right, so this is what that end panel looks like. There's a weird quirk in cabinet vision that doesn't want to display that, and I don't know why. But if you go to your 3D, you can see the wireframe box, so it knows that it's 24 deep, but for some reason it won't display that. So if anyone has a solution, let me know. All right, so now if we come to objects, let's go to our catalog, to appliance, dishwasher. We're going to put in a 24-inch dishwasher, and that looks pretty good. So this is the front of our island looks good. So now let's just put on the back side, we're going to put some panels, and we're going to machine these out of MDF. So I'm going to do 2 panels. So I'm going to do 83 divided by 2. So let's go to bases. And we're going to use this MEP. All right, so we're going to do 41 and a half. And this needs to be 35 tall. And let's see if I can I'm actually going to change this to an MDF panel, and I'm going to change my route path to shaker door, and we're going to section it from here. So what I'm going to do in my left style is 3. I'm going to do my right style is 1.5. Top style 3, bottom style we'll leave as 5 1/4. and 3. And so the reason we're going to do the 1.5 there is because we're going to butt 2 together. And so you want those 1.5s to go together to make 3-inch center. So if we go to MEP, I'm going to do MEP 41.5 by 35. So if we right click and we copy this, I'm going to double click and let's resection it. And I'm just going to reverse it. So that one's 1.5 and then that one's 3. So there we go. So then when we butt those up together, we get the 3. So the reason I'm not putting any on the ends is because I actually figured out, we use on some of these high volume jobs, I use 1/4-inch strips and just build it on the side of it. So it looks like a shaker panel, but it's really quick and easy to apply. So that's why I'm not putting anything there. So it's just on the back. And uh, so there we have it. So that's basically the kitchen. And then let's just for visuals, let's just line it up a little better. Uh, and the rule of thumb for us for the island distance, obviously it depends on the house, but I try to really shoot for like 42, somewhere 42 inches between the cabinets here and the island. Otherwise, you really want to make sure you have enough room to get in and around it. So let me just drag this over a little more so it's more in line with that. So that looks good now. So now what I would do is I would go to CAD and I put just somewhere kitchen. People probably could figure that out, but I label every room in the plan view. All right, so then now let's move on. So we're going to create a new room. We're going to create the laundry. All right, so the laundry room looks pretty simple. If we take a look here. All right, so it's calling for just a base 30, but sometimes people want cabinets above the washer and dryer, and but I guess for now we'll just stick with that base 30-inch base. So same drill, not really worried too much about the actual measurements because I don't have any. We're just going to do a base 30 for now, and then if they come back and they say, hey, we actually want cabinets above the washer and dryer, then, well, I'll come back and add them. But let's do 35 on the height. Let's change that to a shaker slab. Let's make that 2 inches. And then I'm going to actually delete that floor. Perfect, just what we want. So then I'll name this B30. All right. And then I will, and I'm not super particular in this case, but if you want to draw the room out more accurately, it's probably a good idea to do that. But I don't want to waste a bunch of time drawing out the room so much as editing the cabinets because I think that's really what the most important thing is that people are interested in. So we're going to call this laundry. Laundry room. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now let's go to the master bath. All right, so we take a look at the master bath, we've got a 24 sink vanity, 16 or 18-inch cabinet. Zoom in. I can't zoom in anymore. So it looks like a 24, 18, and a 24. So if we plug that in the calculator, 24 plus 18 plus 24, that gives us 66. So let's just do something like this. We're going to go 66 and then down. We can go center this room up. All right, so 24-inch vanity. Let's start there. So yeah, let's go to objects. We're going to use the same base cabinet here. So looks like, all right, so if we do 20, 24, okay, let's go. We're going to do these 35 tall because we're going to do these kitchen height vanities because that is something that this customer wants specifically. Let's get rid of this finished side. So we got to turn this into a vanity. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this slab top. And we also need to make this a false front. I need to make this middle rail 2 inches. I'm going to delete that floor out, and I'm going to delete this shelf out. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make, well, it is keeping that. Why is it keeping that slab? I don't know why it's doing that. It needs to just be a slab. All right, so the depth of a kitchen cabinet's normally 24. So a vanity, we're going to drop this down to 21 because that is standard. And we're going to name this vanity sink 24. I'm going to hit OK. Excuse me. And then I'm going to, well, I got to disable this first before I can name it vanities. So now I can name it vanity sink 24. All right. So if I right click, we're going to copy this to the right side. And that gives us our 18 inches. And even though this is just showing a regular cabinet, this builder, they would like a stack of drawers in the middle. So I'm just going to right click that sink and I'm going to delete everything out. And we're going to make this, we're just going to do 3 drawers in here, just like that. We're going to make this top drawer 5.5. I got to make these middle rails 2 inches. And I got to make this top drawer a slab. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to rename this to Vanity 3 Drawer 18. Just like that. So that looks good. And then the last thing I do is go to CAD, AV text. And so what this does is this saves like the last like 10 or 15 things that you have already typed in previously. So we'll just click the master bath so we don't have to type it out again and hit OK. And so then the next one, we got to do a hall bath. So we'll call this powder bath. Powder bath. And let's take a look right here. We got, it looks like, oops, too far. So it looks like we're going to be a little short on this wall. So we've got a 30-inch, looks like about a 30-inch vanity. So to do that for this, what we'll do is we'll go just like this. We'll do 30. And then we'll do something like, I don't know, 18. We can kind of do something like that, just to kind of give us, you know, a pretty good idea of like what it is, what bathroom it is. So let's do objects. So let's go back to custom cabinets. We'll go to the standard base cabinets and we'll throw in a base cabinet. Let's make this guy 35 tall, 21 deep. Go to our elevation view. Start making the same changes we have been making. So I gotta make this a slab. I'm gonna delete that that floor. I'm gonna delete that horizontal partition. I'm gonna delete that shelf. I'm gonna make this a false front. And I don't, in the bathrooms, this builder, I only extend the styles down to the ground in the kitchen. So the bathrooms, they want me just to leave it like they are. So I'm gonna do that. So let's change the name to Vanity Sink 30. And then on something like this, uh, whenever I run into something like this, probably, either paint half of it or something. You'll have to kind of finish, figure that that's going to be exposed. So a lot of times, like what I'll do is like I'll tell my guys like, hey, paint 9 inches back or whatever, 6 inches back. Um, and that way you're not wasting a bunch of paint. You're not painting the whole thing because you're just wasting paint at that point. But at least the part that is being seen is painted. So, all right. So let's do this as powder bath. And then it looks like from here, so we got the laundry room. It looks like it's just the upstairs bath we got left. So that looks like so it's going to be the left side. So let's center this room up. Centering doesn't really matter. Just if you're ADT, you want things centered, you can do that. So let's make a new room. So we're going to call this upstairs bath and hit OK. And so we're going to do just something like this for now. And we don't have any, I don't have, I could try to put a, go to scale and try to figure out where the center of this the toilet is. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to put a toilet in there, and I'm not really going to get real particular about where it's located. So we want to go to not appliances, but we want to go to furnishings. I'm going to put bath and toilet, and I'm just going to put toilet. Now, this will be an important factor for me when I go take hard field measurements, but until I get to that point, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to put it in as a placeholder, and then I'm just going to we're going to just put that vanity sink in, and then once I go out and take field measurements, I will accurately place it. So we're looking at another vanity sink 24. So let's make this 24, 35. Let's make this a slab. And this shaker door set, it's a CNC parameter, and so I'm just telling it like just ignore any uh I'm just telling it don't apply a route path to it. It should stay slab just with that setting that I had, but for some reason it was having a hard time. It wanted to pull from that shaker route path. So, but that's what that is. That's tied to my CNC. That's for that. So I'm gonna go to true, and let's call this Vanity Sync 24. And There you go. That PL is for paint on the left side. And then the last step here, we're going to put that upstairs back. And then from here, I assign them to the drawings. I'm not going to do it in this video because that, I don't want to drag this out too long. I'm going to have a detailed video on how to utilize the drawing sections. But you just right click, send to live drawing, and then I would start putting it all there and then sending it out to the client. So, maybe not the most prepared video on my end, but hopefully, kind of see just kind of what the editing, just going in and making changes. And obviously, there's a lot of uh, tools or tabs I didn't hit, but generally, if you've been using this or if you start using this program regularly, you find that you only use like, specific things over and over and over again. So this is a pretty good idea of like what I would do like on a daily basis. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll end it here so that way you guys can stop listening to me talk because I'm sure it gets old. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.